Hi, welcome. So, we're going to do a little Sunday night reading, and it feels like a nice end to a quiet, stay at home, snowy weekend. And I'm wearing my Lake of the Ozarks turkey trot shirt. I didn't get to participate, but I still got my shirt. So, Matt, my husband, went down with his family to Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri and participated in I almost said Thanksgiving morning run. Well, they walked, but and I was supposed to walk with his family, but I had to stay here with my family. But I still got the cool shirt, and you can see the feathers of the turkey. I don't know, are shoe prints. So that's very creative. So I thought, I'll wear it. So anyway, thank you for being here. I was looking around and I'm like, what do I really want to use? I haven't used this. This is called like Cats Rule the Earth Tarot. So it's got fun cats. And then I thought we would pull a card from Soul Coaching. All right. So first, let's go ahead and get started with pulling the Oracle card. And we'll see what the overall energy is here with us tonight. Hope you had a good weekend too. Next weekend, my family is having a cooking club, we call it, cooking social, where we all get together, extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, all the things, get together and we cook with each other and then enjoy a meal. So we're like teaching each other how to cook. Well, this is my first time actually teaching. Usually I'm just a participant and enjoying everyone else's cooking. So I said, well, I can make a soup because we're thinking about it's soup season, right? So I made, today I did a practice run of a squash and sweet potato soup. It turned out so good. And then I typed up my little recipe and printed it out for people. So I'm like ahead of the game. It's awesome. So that was fun. All right. Hope you had some nice warm foods. I mean, where I am, it snowed, but I don't know where you are. All right. Oh, gosh, I was just on the verge of pulling it. Okay. Courage. Where are you being called to embrace your courage right now? So let's go ahead and read this. Sometimes I don't read them right off the bat, but that's number 13. Card meaning: throw your shoulders back, step forward, and take a risk. Be willing to listen to the beat of your own drum. Honor your truth. Speak up for yourself. Be impeccable in all of your actions. Your soul wants you to know you have the radiant spirit of a warrior of the light. This isn't the time to be timid and pull back. Don't allow yourself to be limited by your belief systems. This is the time to take action with passion and delight. Courage doesn't mean that you aren't afraid. Fearless means just that, fearless. Acknowledge that you're frightened and take action anyway. Face your anxiety and go beyond the boundaries of limited perceptions of yourself. You're a light bearer for others. Through your example, people find and act on their truth. And then there's an affirmation here. It says, I live life passionately and courageously. Ooh, I love it. So what is it about listening to the beat of your own drum, honoring your truth, speaking your truth, so speaking up for yourself, be impeccable in all of your actions? This feels like aligning everything, like coming into alignment. How you feel on the inside is how you act on the outside, and how you voice what you feel, how you set boundaries, how you even inquire into what your boundaries even are in order to set them and in order to uphold them. So I feel like there's going to be some boundary stuff coming up. I'm going to bookmark this page. Courage. I like the visual there too. Like they're in a storm all alone in a boat, but they don't look scared at all. They're riding the waves. So I'm going to keep that there because I have a feeling we'll want to open that page to read a little bit again. Maybe, maybe not. You know what I thought tonight? We'll try to do this semi-quickly, but I haven't done like a big card spread in a while. So let's see if I even remember how to do it. Let's see what these cards, and then I'll use my little owl tiny cards for clarification. Since they're tiny, I can fit them in this small view. All right, so what do we have here, and is it even related to courage and boundaries? Let's find out. We have the Eight of Pentacles crossed by the King of Swords. Let's see if we can. And then how do I want to lay this out? We'll go in a clockwise circle. The Four of Swords. Four of Swords. You can't see these. Four of Swords down here. King of Wands in the past. So Four of Swords in the subconscious, King of Wands in the past. Four of Pentacles, I'll lay that up here like this. In the conscious thoughts. Two of Pentacles, near future. And then in the heart's desires, we have Seven of Swords. That is pretty relevant. The King of Cups in the surrounding energy. I'm going to have to lay these sideways. Not that you can even see them. The Emperor in the hopes and fears. And the Chariot in the potential future outcome. Where are we going? And then for the overall energy, we have the Seven of Wands. That came up in a prior reading, didn't it? Today. This is like my third reading today. I just got in the mood. Okay, let's dig in. So overall energy being Seven of Wands. Now we'll set aside courage for a moment. We'll see how it might all tie together. So I'll just read the cards as they came out. The Seven of Wands is an energy of, like earlier when it came up, you know what? It was in the overall energy too. Maybe I needed to sage cleanse the room. But honestly, if that's the energy for the collective right now, that's the energy. So Seven of Wands being one of boundary setting. Hello, that's totally related to this. In order to come into your own understanding of your own values. So it's earlier I said it's protecting your peace. Usually, see how there's like a boundary here? Usually in the artwork for the Seven of Wands, there's someone who's like kind of defending their territory and going into their inner peace. So it might look like people, all this outside energy is coming at them, but they're like, oh, you know, so there's that element of boundary. Where are you drawing your lines? This is me, that's you. Right? I don't know what else to say about that. Boundaries. Protecting your integrity. Knowing, like where it says, what did it say about, I was thinking integrity, but it said another word, but it's like integrity meaning I am aligned in my authenticity, meaning inner, outer, higher, physical, all my selves are in unison, moving in the same direction. I voice what I think. And that's not just, but it's also saying like what I think and what I voice, is it truly how I feel? So every aspect of self is aligned. All right. And I think we'll clarify, but I feel like all of this is really like has a lot to do with boundaries. So we have the Eight of Pentacles crossed by the King of Swords. What's this tug of war in the current energy between like how I take my daily life to be, kind of my routines, my grounded reality, what am I doing day by day, right? What is that energy of like heads down, moving forward? Not really, it's this kind of energy of like not really thinking too deeply or questioning, I should say questioning anything. It's just, heads down, moving through the day, day by day. And then we have the King of Swords saying, well, what clarity can come from that if I'm not truly questioning, if I'm not curious? And there's also a confidence here with the King of Swords. So I wonder if that goes back to the courage. So it's like, where can we gather the confidence and courage to do the inner work, to do the questioning, to see how we're in alignment or where we're out of alignment with ourselves? Okay, because 8 of Pentacles just says we're doing the thing, not really thinking or calling into question that very question. What boundaries might I need to work on? What boundaries might I need to set? Okay. And then we have, in the subconscious, we have the 4 of Swords. So it's deep down, we are desiring to tap into that inner knowing, to tap into that higher self. 4 of Swords came up in the last reading too. It's kind of funny. What else did? What's hilarious here to me? In the last reading, we had the Queen of Cups and the Empress, and we had the Queen of Pentacles. This is wild. We had 2 queens and the Empress. Now we have 2 kings and the Emperor. Isn't that funny? And the last reading was all about how do we dissolve shame? How do we look at it first? How do we understand it? How do we unravel the shame spiral so that we don't keep repeating that? And this one, and it was all about that inquiry in order to come to some discernment. And this seems to be more of that masculine, what we called yin for feminine is now yang or yang for the masculine energy. This reading seems to be about, and like that courage aspect feels very masculine, like divine masculine, meaning not just male as in gender, but like the archetypal male energy of confidence, the confidence of the kings, and the Emperor, meaning I have this firm vision of how I see things, and I'm going to enact my vision through courage. Whereas the feminine, there's like a flowy nature to how the divine feminine works within our lives and gets things done. And it's not through outward action. It's through a whole host of other ways, right? But this energy is all about taking the lead. And because this 8 of Pentacles is here, is like it's like this energy of getting stuff done day in, day out. And then how are we inquiring into this idea of boundaries? This is really funny. I just think it's funny how within hours, like 8 hours between 2 readings, we have the archetypal feminine and dealing with shame, and then the archetypal masculine dealing with like the courage to set and enact boundaries. There's something there. Okay, so the 4 of Swords that's the undercurrent of this whole thing. Why is this here right now? What is really moving through your life? It's like the divine, that archetypal masculine doesn't get a lot of social validation to say, hey, work on yourself, do the inner work, take some you time to think and be with yourself and feel and do self-inquiry, right? That doesn't feel like, up to this point, like that masculine energy in the world. Everything else is like saying outward energy. But what you deeply desire is permission to go inside and question what is my authenticity? Where am I out of alignment? How do I bring things into alignment? Because you feel so good when all of those things are in unison, in lockstep with each other. I don't like that word, lockstep. It feels very military. Not that military is bad, but I don't know the etymology of the word enough to know, like, does it come from like really bad place? So I try to understand where words come from. But in unison, my thoughts, my feelings, my actions, my beliefs, all the things, like, are they aligned? And we don't get the chance to question that much, but this is saying you deeply want to have the time and space and permission. Something feels like you're asking permission. And it's not, I'm not only talking to like male gender people here, but there's something that in your life, do you feel like that's not been perceived to be allowed? Whether you didn't have time for it, because this Eight of Pentacles feels like you've got a lot of responsibilities. You've got a lot of stuff going on. You've got to get shit done. And under the undercurrent is like, man, I really wish I had time to work on myself. I'm tired of letting people cross my boundaries. I'm tired of me not even knowing where I'm drawing the lines. Where I should be drawing the lines according to my values. That feels true. In the conscious thoughts, you have the Four of Pentacles. So it feels like day in, day out, like that Eight of Pentacles is saying, you're doing it because you're trying to provide yourself and maybe loved ones with what you perceive to be a sense of safety, security, well-being. You're taking care of business. And that's top of mind. What's underneath it all, the subcurrent again, is, yeah, but what am I doing this for? And is it true? Are my actions in my daily life really aligned with how I feel? It could be as simple as like, am I in the right job according to what my passions are? You know, it could be as simple as that. It could be deeper. Do I keep putting my foot in my mouth and saying things not according to how I really feel? You know, it could be emotional, not just in the physical world of jobs and responsibilities. It could be aligning, like, somehow my friend group doesn't really reflect who I am on the inside. It could be any number of things. Okay, so in the recent past, we have the King of Wands. This is one of, it feels like what's led to this moment where we're calling it the King of Swords being mind energy and clarity of mind and purpose. Not so much purpose, but like right thinking, right action, things like very clear, things not muddied. Like, I feel like with King of Swords, there's some clarity about how you're moving through the world. Okay, usually it's like the stuff of thought. So at least in your mind, there's something saying you're seeking clarity so that you're bringing into alignment the conscious and subconscious, because right now it feels a little unaligned, misaligned. King of Wands, you have 3 kings in this reading. That's wild. 3 of the 4 kings. And then Courage. There's definitely some things you may, like, there's a confidence here, but maybe not the courage. So there's something about, maybe you do feel confident in the daily work you're doing, like moving through daily life. You feel pretty confident, but there's something saying here, do I have the courage to do the deeper work? Because up to now, there's this courage of, like, where you, not courage, but confidence of how you're using your energy. And it seems like up to now, you've been pretty good about focusing all your energy in one direction, right? It's led right here today where all of your energy is still going in one direction. Not that it shouldn't keep going that way, but is it not that it should be scattered, rather, but is it going in the right direction, not just in a direction that you feel pretty comfortable with, but according to what you will discern in question, calling into question your, like, how am I aligned? Is it going in your right direction? There's no objective right or wrong, but is it your right direction according to what you find out in that inquiry? Okay, so that's where you've been up to now. All energy focused in that direction, and that's where you get to the Eight of Pentacles, where it's like day in, day out, doing the thing. Two of Pentacles is in the immediate future. Like, this trajectory would be something will kind of maybe call into question your balance. And that might mean if I don't do the inquiry, I always think of this one as like, what if things just kept going as is, status quo? Something is going to come to a little bit of an imbalance, or a big imbalance. That's up in your life, you to decide. And then it might feel like, where's my footing? How do I stay grounded? How do I, if you didn't have the inquiry, like the inclination to do that work, you might be seeking outward at like, I don't understand why I feel this way, right? I was doing the thing. How could it have ended up like this, where I feel like maybe the rug was pulled out from under me? It's not saying you don't have the ability to come back into balance. Actually, you do. It just may not be in the way that this reading is saying, hey, dig deep. Okay? So it's not bad. It's just saying you might feel like, uh-oh, if I keep going the way I'm going, not really questioning much, then it's like things will get rocky. You'll be able to come back into balance, but nothing ultimately changes. And something here is saying you deeply desire that change to really align all parts of you, your deepest passions, your deepest heart's desires, which leads into the heart's desire of the Seven of Swords. This is where you're really desiring to stop the self-deception. Now, you may not think of it in those words, because those are kind of dramatic words, like self-deception. But this is the card of things aren't what they seem. And if it's in the heart's desire space, placement within the spread, you're deeply desiring to illuminate those things that aren't what they seem. So it might be, what are my blind spots? Where am I not in alignment? You may click out of this reading thinking, no, I'm in alignment. But something here is saying that's the very blind spot that we're being called to question when we don't even know where we're out of alignment. Because honestly, is any one of us 100% in alignment? I don't know. It feels like if we were, what else is there in life? You know? What else would we look forward to healing within ourselves? I just feel like I always want to keep growing. So to me, I want this journey to last my whole life. But I'm glad I'm on the journey, you know. So it's now versus like never having gotten here. So anyway, this is the card of like you deeply, deeply desire to stop telling the old stories, to really, wherever you feel like you're deceiving yourself. And it feels like old stories. So it feels like, well, this is the way I am. This is what I like. This is what I do. It just feels like there's something deeper to you than just the circumstances of your life. Because this is all about the circumstances of your life. This is like, that's not the only thing you are. There's something deeper than just the outward appearance of your life. And it's like, and maybe going back to that friend group, do they only see you as surface level? Do they not know your depths? Do they not know what you deeply desire? Because we haven't had the courage yet to express that. Because maybe we haven't yet had the courage to really do the self-inquiry that this card requires, it being in the subconscious, it being the undercurrent of this whole thing that got us here in the first place. So, deepest heart's desire is to actually do that work and stop deceiving ourselves that we can just play it easy, safe, comfortable on the surface level. True peace will come when we go through the turbulent times and maybe don't come into balance right away, but the balance will come. Peace will come. So in the surrounding, this whole reading is the energy of the King of Cups. Not only is there the confidence of the King, there's the love, compassion, and empathy of the cups. So this is the divine masculine tapping into the divine feminine to become balanced. So there's no more just outward do, right? Whatever that masculine energy is in us, this is saying there's more to you than that. You can be a full, whole person by embodying both the outward and the inner, the masculine, the feminine, the action and the inquiry. You can bring it all together. I am thirsty. And when I say bring it all together, it just means, like, don't you want to feel whole? Like, full, whole. I don't know how else to say it. Do you ever feel like if you're all one way or another on, like, we are full of spectrums and layers and dimensions and all the ways you can measure something. And don't you want to feel harmonious with all of that? Whenever I felt all one way, like, let's say I was work, and then I didn't have any play, or creativity time, right? I might feel so good that I'm getting shit done, making good money, whatever. But man, I'm severely, desperately seeking balance there. Harmony, not just balance. I feel like there's harmony because it's not 50-50 and everyone's sense of balance is different. It's where can you bring harmony into all these aspects between, like, maybe another one is like alone time versus family time. You know? Living simply versus like having all of your needs met and being really comfortable. And how can I feel harm? There's so many spectrums, right? And dimensions and all the things. So this is like that energy of the King of Cups is like the surrounding energy of bringing the masculine and divine feminine together in a very harmonious way. So you can feel super confident that you're flowing in every way. Okay, in hopes and fears, we have the Emperor. Okay, so when we talk hopes and fears, we're going to talk about the light aspects of the Emperor and the dark aspects. So the light aspects, which might be your hopes, would be to have that big sense of courage and confidence. The Emperor is the person overseeing the land, right? The whole landscape of your life, saying, I feel good about everything I'm doing. I feel good about how my life is playing out on all these aspects, all these avenues. The home life, the work life, I mean, whatever all of your attributes are, whatever all your elements are. I feel good about all of them. I can see, I have clarity on all of them, right? These are the light aspects of the Emperor. Thinks very strategically without stressing, right? You've got a lot of balls in the air, spinning a lot of plates, whatever, like it's nothing. Doesn't that feel good? So the Emperor has all of that. And again, I want to stress that it's without stress, right? Otherwise, we're all out of balance or out of harmony on one of those extremes. Like I said, the workaholic thing. So the maybe dark aspects could be that the Emperor can be very rigid because they're like, I got to run a tight ship, right? They can be very rigid. So just keep that in mind. Like the fear might be that, oh my God, what if I stop doing things the way I've been doing them? Everything's going to fall apart. Like there's a rigidity to that way of thinking, right? And that's the fear. Oh, chaos. Things are going to fall apart if I let go of the reins a little bit. I don't know. Letting go has a way of really putting you in the driver's seat, taking the reins. Letting go of the reins has a way of letting you take the reins. It's a really weird thing. So oh my God, that's weird. So in the potential future outcome is the Chariot. I love that we just said that then. Because a lot of times I'll say with the Chariot, it's asking you to get in the driver's seat of your life, to take the reins. So it's like, what is that about the Emperor? Like to embody the light aspect of the Emperor, which is like having loose fists on those reins, right? You're not gripping too tight. Oh, interesting. So the Chariot is, oh, look, he has little wheels on it. So that's where we're going, is that instead of being rigid, everything's pretty structured and I got to keep doing it or else I'll become out of balance. But really, this is about flowing. I'm pointing to the King of Cups here, really questioning this. Where am I deceiving myself? Where am I out of balance? Where can I come into this leadership in my life, this confidence and courage out of the love energy, out of the heart energy, and not be too rigid, but really do things without that stress and anxiety and worry element that things are just going to fall apart, because there's ego that shows up with the Emperor in that energy of holding on too tightly and doing things from a place of fear versus a place of love. And I think you know the feeling, right? It's like, what am I saying? How am I acting? Is this coming from some underlying fear, or is it out of love and connection? Because the Chariot, this is also a card of balance between light and dark. A lot of the artwork depicts like the Chariot. There's one white horse and one dark horse. And which horse are you going to put in the front of your chariot to lead the way? Is it the one of light and love, or is it the one of like dark, anxiety, stressy kind of energy? Fear. It's just fear or love. Those are the two ends of that spectrum. What's going to lead the way? Okay, so we've already gone kind of long, but let's get a few clarifications. I'm not going to clarify everything because I think you get the gist. I do want to clarify the Seven of Wands. What kind of boundaries setting? What kinds of, we've talked about, I guess, what kind of harmonies or balance or boundary setting. I want to kind of know the nuance there just to see if there's anything that will resonate a little more deeply in your life. You might know exactly what this is about and go for it. That's fine. In your life, about boundaries and harmony. Where do you feel out of balance? Okay. These are so little. We have the Hierophant, the Devil, holy moly, and the Three of Pentacles, you guys. Okay, this is crazy. First of all, I want to show you these. Hierophant, Devil. Look at that devil owl. And the Three of Pentacles. Right here in the heart is the devil. Not only did we get the devil as the main clarification for the overall energy, the Seven of Swords, these are both about self-deception. So I think that's the inquiry. When you go into what you've been deeply desiring, this is the undercurrent of the whole reading, the thing we've been ignoring, that self-inquiry. When you go into that space, whenever you get a chance, the question is, where am I deceiving myself? Are there old stories? Are they really even true? You know, do you have memories? Because they say every time you revisit a memory, it's not an actual realistic depiction of actual events that occurred. I'm tainting it, that word. It's picking up the flavor of however I feel right now. So really tap into how you feel when you think about old situations, those old stories, and say, wait a minute, is that even true anymore? If I let go a little bit, does it have the same grip on me that I've been putting on it? So that's what the devil does. It's like it keeps us shackled to the old stories, to the old behaviors, to those old patterns. So really call into question, what are my patterns? Are they even useful anymore? And how might I be deceiving myself by repeating them? Because the Hierophant is one of seeking counsel, and the Three of Pentacles is one of teamwork. So it almost feels like, in this particular clarification, this might be for someone out there, or a subset of someone's. Do you have people you confide in that you feel you're close enough to who might be able to help you with this? I don't know if it's a counselor or just a close friend group that you can actually talk to about this stuff, because it feels like there's two things coming up for me, and I'll just say them in case it resonates. This feels like with that teamwork card showing up and seeking counsel, it almost feels like maybe it's okay to go to your friend group and really chat about this to gain some clarity. That's one thing. Feel free to voice it, especially because this is about, on some level, about boundaries. And it's like sometimes we get real clear when talking with people, like, hey, in this situation, what would I do? It's like, start that conversation and see what you might understand by being around people who you tend to seek counsel from or bounce ideas off of. The other thing is this feels like when you stop the self-deception, this is saying that you're now moving into that driver's seat of your life. You're now moving from the pupil to the teacher. You're moving from the mentee to the mentor of your life, right? You're growing up. You're becoming emotionally mature. You're becoming the expert in your life. Whereas before, there were outward appearances of confidence, and now you're moving into this inner courage, like this talks about. So there's that aspect, because the Three of Pentacles has this air of you as the skilled craftsperson of your life, if you want to put it like that. You're like, I know exactly where we're going and how to get there. And the Hierophant, now you've moved from the counsel seeker to the one who has enough wisdom to give yourself the counsel you need. And I say that also because that's what you deeply desire. This is the one of you communing with your higher self to say, who am I? What do I want? What are my boundaries? Where do I draw the lines in my life? So those are the two things coming up for the overall energy. Now so that's a little bit extra flavor about what type of inquiry we're doing. So it feels like a maturity is coming where you maybe felt like outwardly I'm doing the thing. Look how together my life is. That emperor energy of like I'm firing on all cylinders and I've all my I'm making headway on every front. You know, I think that's another military analogy. I don't even know anymore. So I want to know the Chariot. Let's skip right to the end. We clarified the overall. Let's clarify the Chariot and call it a day. So what is it? Well, I'm curious. What are we curious about? I'm curious about where this is taking us. Because if we really are questioning, where am I deceiving myself in my life? And then that's going to lead to some truly like letting go of the reins in order to truly lead your life. What does that mean? Where are you leading it? How are you leading it? More likely. What are you going to be embodying? Okay, we have the Four of Swords. What? We just got that again. The World. And the Knight of Wands. Okay, let me pull this up here. This feels so big. This feels, so when we get the World card clarifying where we're going, this is like this old cycle of you just outward appearances, firing all cylinders, headway on all fronts, pretty confident person in life, doing what you think you should be doing. That cycle's coming to an end, and a new one is starting where now you're in alignment with your higher self. But that has only happened through taking action on that, because the Knights are of action. So as before we had the King of Wands, I'm firing all my energy in this direction. The Knight of Wands is saying you're taking that first baby step in that direction of in alignment. So this is saying every step of the way in this new chapter of life is be aware where you fall back into old patterns, even if you feel aligned, because there's something about the repetition of it, like making it routine, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of doing that self-inquiry in the first place. Because what this is saying is every step of the way in the new path, what you discern, what you come to in your inner reflection and inquiry, it's saying you have to do that inquiry every step of the way in this new chapter of life. And it's fun, actually. So this is saying don't just one and done it. Okay, don't just feel like I'm gonna journal today and come up with all my things that I feel like are out of alignment, and now I know. But then you fall back into old patterns. This is saying take the one thing that's calling you to you the most, and take an action in that direction of bringing that back into alignment. So for example, if you have an old story you always repeat, if not to other people, to yourself, make an intention, like a commitment, to pausing every time that repeats in your head or out of your mouth. Pause, do the inquiry and say, is that even true? And then see what your answer is. If it isn't, say, okay, not true, carry on. It might come back 10 more times. Do the same thing until that story no longer repeats, or whatever you're working on, until that change is made. Because this is saying the world has that, like, things culminating to amount to something, to bring a cycle to an end, a chapter to a close, and a new chapter beginning. Okay, so this is and this Chariot is like you in the driver's seat, and in order to be in the driver's seat, You're the one taking that action. The nights are all action. It isn't just, oh, think about it a little bit. This is like, the nights have that consistency of action. And this is, the Knight of Wands is one of like the spirit energy. So it's acting in alignment on that spirit energy that you tapped into when you did your Four of Swords inquiry. That came up twice here. So it's like, and that's the flavor of inquiry that says, what's my higher self? Meaning my true self, my soul self, my spirit self. What is the real me? Is it just what I've always been doing? No, it's saying, what are my values? And do I act, think, believe, feel according to those values? Where am I out of alignment? That's what this whole reading's about. Okay, so, and really, I love the courage because it says, like, I think it's about having courage to keep taking that action every step of the way. Sometimes it's really hard. So anyway, I think we'll stop there. Thank you for being here. Let me know if you have any questions or want to do a one-on-one reading. And yeah, best of luck. Bye.